the role of Chancellor is one of great importance, so it really is an extraordinary honour to be asked to serve as Chancellor of UTS. However, before accepting, I did test myself on understanding the responsibility required in the role, but more particularly on the specific commitment to UTS. I felt I had to be able to answer the question, why UTS? Certainly, I've had many interactions with UTS over the past 20 years, and one of the first of them was being really impressed with the UTS engineering students who came as interns while I was CEO of Cochlear. I had also noticed the extent to which not just the students, but also their parents are so passionate about the university. It struck me that UTS goes beyond the transaction of the degree, so to speak, and aims for true engagement, leading to a UTS family. And I'd been impressed by the fact that UTS requires students to think of themselves as professionals and workforce participants from day one. But underlying all of this are the two aspects of the UTS philosophy which are congruent with what have been my own priorities, if not passions, over most of my career. The first is, of course, innovation, not just talking about it, but making it work by design. And the second is the role of technology. So I'd just like to take a few moments to share perspectives on each of them, because they are absolutely, as Attila has said, they're core to UTS as an institution. So I've spent over 2 decades talking about innovation, and often it feels like Groundhog Day. A few years ago, Professor Mark Dodson from the University of Queensland analysed 75 reports on innovation in Australia, written over a 12-year period, and found that the mode number of cross-citations was 0. This was, of course, before our own Professor Roy Green's excellent 2015 paper on the innovation system prepared for the Senate Economics References Committee. But 75 reports in 12 years is alarming enough, but the absence of cross-citations suggests that something fundamental is wrong. So thinking about that, I wondered whether perhaps it isn't the fact that when it comes to the concept of innovation in Australia, we actually started from the wrong place. And I might be showing my age here, but going back to the Innovation Summit in 2000, which we could say was the point at which the national conversation moved from one of invention to one of innovation, my enduring memory from that summit was the declaration in the opening session that there should be no expectation that the government was going to put more money on the table, including for R&D. So we were there to talk about innovation for 2 days, and that was the opening statement. There were 2 concerns with this. The first was the implication that innovation is somehow a government responsibility and can be delivered through a government program. And the second was that innovation can be equated with the rate of expenditure on R&D. Even today, the concepts of innovation and research are tightly coupled in Australia. We have the 2015 National Innovation and Science Agenda, or NISA, which led to the creation of Innovation and Science Australia, which is the body providing advice to government on science and research and innovation. So without in any way diminishing the significance of either NISA or ISA, or the critical importance of investment in research and infrastructure, the starting point for any discussion of innovation must always be people. It's people who innovate, not governments, not institutions, not businesses, but the people inside them. It's an intensely human activity. It's minds rubbing on minds. And that's what's so compelling about the UTS philosophy. It's all about people-to-people connections. Whether it's the core commitment to the importance of the university as a physical place with a vibrant campus experience complemented by a stimulating built environment, whether it's the way of learning with fewer large lectures and many more small group and collaborative learning spaces, whether it's the aspiration to enable all students to have an internship during their degree, or whether it's the fostering of the Ultimo precinct, which includes TAFE, the Sydney School of Entrepreneurship, a dynamic startup community, and the Goods Line all the way down to the Powerhouse Museum. This is all about the essence of innovation being people interacting in unpredictable ways and often producing unexpected outcomes. And that's where we should have started the national conversation on innovation. Had we done so, we wouldn't have allowed the damaging underinvestment in the vocational education sector over the past decade, and a healthy vet sector is an important complement to universities in an integrated tertiary arrangement. And we would have focused more and earlier on identifying the root causes of our falling student performance and outcomes, particularly on the PISA scores. Instead of the one-dimensional assumption that more money was the solution to the problem, we might have identified much sooner that teacher quality, classroom discipline and curriculum design are also pivotal influences on student outcomes. In the event, those outcomes have continued to decline over many years now. I think we have a unique opportunity at UTS to act as a circuit breaker and to move the conversation to a focus on people as innovators, highlighting the successful outcomes from the approaches we're taking and leading to a mindset change, with our 10,000 graduates a year and our 200,000 alumni amplifying this message. And we do need a circuit breaker because innovation is key to Australia's prosperity, as the Governor has said, yet currently the community is both suspicious of and sceptical about innovation as a force for good. They see it as something that is done to them rather than by them. And this runs the risk of having a community with an unconscious bias tending towards anxiety and pessimism, not a bias which is conducive to innovation. So to my second theme, technology. And without wishing to compound the unconscious bias to anxiety, I thought I might start with the concept of technological singularity, most recently espoused by Nick Bostrom in his book Superintelligence. Bostrom, who's been referred to as the philosopher of doomsday, argues that true artificial intelligence could gain the ability to improve itself and very quickly dispense with the intellectual necessity of the human brain. Now, I'm not proposing to debate the merits of singularity, save to say that it's incumbent on us, as a University of Technology, to consider our responsibility for the technologies we are creating and facilitating, to ensure that we do not lose control of our relationship with technology. As the Governor said, I spent my executive career in the technology-intense field of implantable medical devices, and part of the regulatory process was a requirement to conduct a hazard analysis on new product designs. So that is, after proving that a product worked as designed, that it was safe and effective, the team had to then test the ways in which it could be inadvertently misused, resulting in danger, damage, or in the worst case, death. The design was then modified to ensure such misuse was not possible. Interestingly, in the same vein, I read a recent account of Tristan Harris, who was formerly with Google and is based in Silicon Valley. And he has co-founded an organisation called Time Well Spent, which is an advocacy group trying to bring moral integrity to software design in the wake of social media software being designed based on addiction and exploiting people's psychological vulnerabilities. Harris is collaborating in a code of conduct for software designers to underpin a more respectful approach to software design, effectively a Hippocratic oath for software designers. So similarly, a University of Technology has a clear role in understanding and anticipating the application of technologies and providing a place for open and informed debate about the respective benefits and hazards at the societal level, and the potential interaction effects between technologies, because one technology can provide a platform for another to be unleashed. So, for example, we have the internet enabling social media. A more current example, which is very relevant to UTS, is the use of insights from the application of sophisticated data analytics capability to huge data sets of seemingly benign data. To the extent that we have the debate about the appropriate application of technology, and that it highlights the need for regulation, it should enable that regulation to be anticipatory rather than the current situation wherein much regulation serves only to solve yesterday's problem. These are complex issues and may require challenging responses from policy. Again, as a University of Technology, we should be ready to contribute to the possible design of those responses. In this context, there's a salutary lesson from the 2017 Edelman Trust Barometer for Australia, which found that the voice of academic experts has the highest score for credibility in the community. Dare I say, significantly higher than CEOs, board directors, NGO representatives, and government officials. We must therefore use that voice wisely in the so-called post-truth alternative facts propaganda environment and equip our students with the capacity to make sense of knowledge from wherever it is sourced. I've touched on these two aspects of UTS this evening, but there are many, many more, not least being the strong social impact imperative. It's an incredible honour to be Chancellor and to have the opportunity to build on the huge achievements of those who have come before. To the extent that we can provide an approach to learning through combining teaching and research, which maximises the people-to-people connections, we will not only be doing the best for our students and for our staff, but also for the innovative capacity of Australia. Thank you very much.